Hi, and welcome to pitch terms, the ones you really need to know. So these are the terms when you're answering questions in the HSC Music 1 course, you really need to know these terms for pitch. They can be used in other concepts, but these are the ones that sort of are mainly used in this concept. There's quite a few of them, so it's going to take us a while to get through. Hopefully you'll watch this video first, then you'll watch the one that says pitch, the concept explained, and then you'll watch the last one, which is all about an example answer. It features a piece of music and an actual answer, what the answer should be with that sort of thing. So here we go. So pitch, it literally means the height or depth of sound, so how high or how low a sound is. I know it sounds a bit daggy, but you'll remember it by my dagginess. Conjunct. A conjunct melody is a melody that moves in steps. So in other words, that's why we've got the little staircase there. La 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 is a conjunct melody, whereas the opposite would be a disjunct melody. It's a melody that moves in leaps. So la 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 la, okay, is a disjunct melody because it's a melody moving in leaps as opposed to steps. So a melody literally means a series of pitches that forms a tune. So Mary had a little lamb is a melody. It's the bit you normally sing along to in a piece of music. Even if it is an instrumental, it's that bit you hum along to. A scale. A scale can either be ascending or descending, and it is in steps. So it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Ascending or descending. Do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, which is descending scales. Now a key is a certain thing that musicians refer to so that they can actually know what's going on. So a home scale used in a composition. So a musician might say that the song is in the key of C major or E flat major or A minor or D minor. It doesn't really matter what the key is, but the key is actually, as I said, those sorts of things, and it's an indication so we know as musicians what sort of notes, what sort of chords we can expect in that piece of music. So that's what the key is. A drone is a long continuous pitch played to maintain a tonal centre. So the didgeridoo certainly performs a drone, but another instrument that does this really well and probably better is the bagpipes. Okay, they have that lovely sound all the way through, and that's what's called a drone. A chromatic scale, there's a reason the piano is there. It's because a chromatic scale is a scale consisting of all the black and white notes. So da 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 da, and all those black and white notes all in between. Okay, so again, it can be ascending or descending. A pentatonic scale is a scale with only 5 notes. So just like a pentagon has only 5 sides, a pentatonic scale has only 5 notes. Okay, so a lot of songs and a lot of Asian music and a lot of traditional Asian music, I should say, or African music uses a pentatonic scale. A song that you might know, your parents certainly would, Bad Moon Rising uses only 5 notes and it features a pentatonic scale. That I see a bad moon arising. Believe it or not, only 5 notes used in the whole song. Modulation, there's little dudes going in and little dudes going out because to modulate means to change away from the home key into another key. So it might start off in one key and then it suddenly moves and changes into another one. The song Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog does that towards the end of the song, and it goes, Jeremiah was a bullfrog, da-da-da, was a good friend of mine. Then it changes into the key, da-da, Jeremiah was a bullfrog, do-do-do, and it keeps going. Again, it can either go up or can go down, or it can change into a very different key, depending on what the composition or the musician or the composer wanted to do. Okay, a chord is a group of notes played together, and I'll get my guitar out. Okay, so if we have one note, that's one note, but to play a chord would to play another note together with it, or another one on top. Okay, and that's why on a guitar you play chords. My my bad playing, sorry, because I really need to cut my fingernails. But that's what a chord is. It can be obviously played by more instruments. It doesn't have to be played by one instrument like the guitar or the piano, but it can actually be played by a group of instruments that perform that chord together. A chord pattern is a pattern of different chords. Okay, now the reason I've got the ice cream there is because it goes something like this, the ice cream chord pattern, which you would hear. Now it repeats. Sorry about my bad playing, but that's what the ice cream chord change is all about. Another chord pattern that you'd be familiar with would be the 12-bar blues. Okay, an arpeggio, there's a little guitar there because it's a broken chord. So notes that are played one at a time. So as opposed to playing a note or a chord like this, you could actually play them like this. And again, sorry, my fingers are, I really need to cut my nails, so I could play that a little bit better for you. But it's simply a broken chord. The notes of the chord are actually played separately. Consonant sounding. So she's looking pretty happy because consonant means pleasant sounding. So music that sounds actually quite pretty or nice. Dissonant. Now the reason the hands are over the ears because it's unpleasant sounding. Okay, so sometimes it's just a bit ugh, and that's dissonant sounding. Phrasing actually is a section of a melody that is like a musical sentence. So ba ba black sheep, end of the phrase. Have you any wool? End of the phrase. Yes sir, end of the phrase. 3 bags full. Okay, it's like these little musical sentences. So I sang that the whole together. Ba ba black sheep, have you any wool? Yes sir, 3 bags full. It's where, if a singer is playing, where they actually take a breath, or if a flautist is fluting, they would take a breath in those phrases. A motif. Now there's a reason there's the same thing repeated there. It's because it's a part of a melody that is repeated or imitated. So you might hear this tiny little bit of a melody just playing constantly throughout a piece of music, and that's what the motif is there. Range. The notes played by an instrument in a piece of music, in other words, they can be wide or narrow. So in the case of Ba Ba Black Sheep, the range would actually be very, very narrow, okay, because there's only about 3 notes played in there. Whereas if it was the range of, say, an opera song, it might be a very wide range. The register, though, is treble or bass. So the placement of notes played by an instrument, whether it is actually treble or bass. So is it a high sounding register or is it a low sounding register? Be careful. I don't know how many times I see a student write that the bass was played in the treble register. Be logical about it, please. Imitation. Okay, we've got 2 people playing there because it's where a melody or part of is copied by another instrument. So it might be just, you know, when you hear a song and the main singer is actually singing something and the backup singers actually sing along with them for a part of the song, that's imitation. Ostinato. Now, we've got Harry Potter there, so an ostinato is a musical pattern that repeats over and over again without changing. Some pieces of music you can hear layers of different ostinati, which is the plural there. This makes the texture interesting, and you can see that little bit there, that picture. So that's just to help you explain it. But it's a repeated pattern of notes or chords or rhythms, so anything that's repeated musically is an ostinato. Ornamentation. Now think of a Christmas tree and how boring it looks when you don't have the ornaments on there. Ornamentation is the same sort of thing to a melody. So you could have a very boring melody. Let me see. Mary had a little lamb. Very boring. Or you could add the fancy bits into it, something like Mary had a little lamb. Okay, and add little bits of ornamentation in. So it's the fancy bits of a melody. A trill. A trill is a rapid alternation between 2 neighbouring pitches. Okay, and the reason is trills were actually used to sustain notes by a harpsichord because they can't actually physically sustain a note. And that was one of the reasons. But trills are often played by xylophones and also steel drums, but as well as other instruments. Okay, a turn is a melodic figure that rises and falls around a main pitch. Ah. Okay, so it's that it's a up and down around the main pitch. Improvisation. We've got little jazz dudes there because it means to make up as you play it, a jazz solo. Rock music was based on jazz music, and the improvised solo or guitar solo has its roots in jazz music. Okay, so improvisation based in jazz, but can be used in any sort of music. Call and response. Okay, that literally means a main melody is answered by a group or another instrument. So someone might say, sing something, and then a group responds. Okay, or it could be someone singing and the guitar answering. Okay, types of call and response. A canon. Now the reason I've got little Eiffel Tower there is because a canon is a round, a main melody starts and is started by another instrument a few bars later. So if you think of the song Frère Jacques, which you may have sung as a child in primary school, Frère Jacques, dormez-vous, etc., etc., the first group would start with the Frère Jacques, and when the first group gets to dormez-vous, the second group starts with Frère Jacques, and that's what the round is, and it keeps going round and round and round. Okay, that's why it's also called a round, but technically it's called a canon. 12-bar blues. Okay, you're going to hear my dodgy playing again. Okay, so it's a pattern of chords used in jazz and rock music. The first chord being this one. Okay, at the moment, the fourth chord, and then the fifth chord. But it sounds something like this. Just repeats and repeats and repeats. Okay, again, that's my dodgy form of blues. I was keeping it simple because I just don't want to show off. Minor. He's blue, he's sad. It's a sad sounding key center, so it could be something like this. Sounds a bit sad. Whereas major is a happy sounding key center. It's a major sound. Now the main thing is though with major and minor, it's all to do with their arrangement of tones and semitones, which can get complicated, so you just have to know at this stage that minor is sad, major is happy. A walking bass line. Okay, this is usually a part of a rock, blues or a jazz like thing. It's a bass line centered around the primary chords and their triads, and if I can play it really badly, keeps going like that. That's a walking bass line. Usually it's part of the 12-bar blues. Contour. So a contour of the melody is the shape of the melody. What does it actually look like? If you were actually joining the dots on the melody, what would that contour actually look like? And a cadence is an ending. So it's the last two chords played at the end of a phrase. Now you can have several different types of cadences. You could have plagal cadence, which is your amen one, which is 4-1, or you can have your 5-1, which is your perfect cadence, or you can have interrupteds, you can have imperfect, all sorts of different cadences there, but it's just the two chords at the end. So okay, or just a couple of different things. Usually it's for choirs and all those sorts of big groups of things. It's a nice big ending. Atonal. He's cranky because it's a piece of music written without a home or key center. A lot of 20th century music is written like in this manner. Bitonal, music with two key centers. Again, a lot of 20th century music is written like this. Sounds really weird. So a piece with two key centers. And a tone row uses all the black and white notes of the chromatic scale, and it's played in a set order. So it could be go da da it's a weird 20th century music. They're strange. Melisma is the singing of more than one note on a syllable. Born to be wild. That wild is melisma. A cadenza is a fancy ending to a song or section with lots of use of melisma, trills and turns. Okay, so usually used in opera. Primary chords. The reason I've got 3 primary colours there in art is because the primary chords actually contain all the notes of an actual key. So in the primary chords you've got chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5, and all those chords actually contain all the notes in the scale. So that's why they're called the primary chords. And that's the end.